So, I would like to start with a small presentation of my university because there are many new participants and few of us have been in Rostov, our university. Although we have already hosted ASECU and ASECU youth events, but not only because of it, also by the reason that will help me relate the topic of our summer school, Sustainable Development Goals 2030, and get down to the topic of my lecture. So, our university, Rostov State University of Economics, does not belong to elder universities of the world, and even is not the oldest university of Russia. But by the scope of our country, it is in the group of elderly universities. It was founded in 1931, and now we are 88 years old. Therefore, we are younger than the University of National and World Economy, so we are its younger brother or sister, as you wish. So before the revolution of 1917, there were few universities in Russia, but after the revolution in Soviet Russia, the building of new economy began, and one of the main tasks was industrialization. So there was a need in young specialists. The authorities of that time decided not to create big classical universities, but open specialized ones, which would prepare specialists of those professions that were in the demand of the different regions. Industrialization began in early 30s, and in 1931 Rostov Institution of Finance and Economics was established. Later we formed a group of 14 specialized economic universities preparing economists and specialists in governments for the whole Soviet Union. But today we are in fact the classical university with many fields of study, but with specialization in social sciences. We have 23,000 students and at about 850 professors. Our university is situated in the city of Rostov-on-Don, which informally is called the southern capital of Russia, and officially is the capital of Southern Federal District of Russia. Rostov is one of the 10 largest cities of Russia, with population 200,000 people. As we will consider the city agglomeration, it is about 3 million people. So, there is one important and pleasant fact for us. In 2019, our university was ranked in the world ranking Times Higher Education University Impact Rankings. We formed a group of 20 best world university rankings. This is a new ranking. In 2019 it was published for the first time, and these rankings measure global universities' success in delivering exactly the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 goals, and these rankings are evaluated university performance on 11 of them. At least it was so in the first edition of this ranking. Our university was assessed in 6 goals. You can see. And became one of 300 or 200 best world universities. And our university became the second in the world in goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. So I think you think that I decided to boast about it. Of course, each of our universities here has outstanding achievements it can share with us. But of course, I wanted to boast a bit as well. But only a bit because I told you about this ranking and our achievements in this ranking to get closer to the topic of my lecture. One of the conceptual ideas of creating this ranking of universities was the idea to give a unique opportunity to celebrate and showcase the excellent work universities undertake and the range of ways in which they contribute to local, national, and global societies and economies. The ranking offers a new way of defining excellence, an assessment that captures unique new insights on the impact institutions have on society against their own unique missions, not just their research and teaching performance. Apart from 2 well-known missions of universities, namely education and research, there is a third one which is no less important, maybe more important. If considering 3 of them in the frame of Sustainable Development Goals, which is called commitment to society, assistance to society in finding solutions to solve its most relevant problems. Excellence in fulfillment of this mission does not depend on the size of endowment funds of universities, the number of Nobel Prize winners who work at university, or hundreds of years of university's history. The stable group of universities has been introduced in these world rankings by these parameters since long ago and has been taking the leading position in it. Ordinary universities, for example, like my university, cannot take this position. But what is more important from the point of view the significance of the university, the number of citation of its professors, or what benefits the university brings to meet sustainable development goals for the society it serves for. What do you think? Okay.
The second one.
So, we believe so. So let's stop our philosophical considerations here and make an intermediary conclusions. In some cases, the number of capital, the long time history of highly valuable assets are not so compulsory requirement to become the best in your area, even at global level. Well, what it's needed for it. Actually, the topic of my lecture is another example of organization which, despite the standard vision, become the world leaders for a short period of time since their emergence. I think you know Uber, Alibaba Group, Airbnb. Who uses the services provided by these companies? Raise the hand. Many of you. Okay. From the point of view of the classical theory of the firm and international business theory, these companies are nonsense. Sometimes which should not emerge. Not owning considerable tangible assets, not gaining long-term reputation and widely known brand. These companies not only enter the market for a very short period of time, but seize the leading positions in the global market. These companies are now among the largest companies by the volume of sales and revenue, outrunning ahead many industrial monsters. What is the business model of these companies which led them to be successful? In the economic literature which research the activities, these companies are known under different names. I-business firm, platform companies, platform-based firms, sharing economy firms. So we will stop on the term I-business firms. It is not so important now in our discussion. I-business firms are business entities using a platform business model to make a match of stakeholders offering or seeking an access to underutilized assets. To understand what is the secret of these companies, how do they become so successful for the limited period of time and seize global markets, is necessary applied to the theoretical analysis of the firm's nature. But first I shall underline it one more time. At the moment of their establishment, companies, as a rule, do not have assets, huge amount of assets. They also do not own unique technologies which are impossible to replicate. They are often newcomers of the market, and that's why they don't have recognizable brand and name, and do not have formed networks which could help them. All are against them. To be more precise, all the benefits are for other companies. So, the concept under discussion is the nature of the firm, and this was the title of epochal work of Ronald Coase, written in 1937. Professor Zaratiadis already told you in his lecture that contemporary markets are imperfect markets. Ronald Coase was not the first studying the imperfect markets, but he showed that this is the market imperfection that is the reason of firm emergence. In economics, there should be a mechanism which lets owners of resources, capital, labor, etc., find other participants to make a new product, and producers to find the best customers and vice versa. Again, we get back to the history. There are 30s of 20th century, the time when there was the economy of capitalism and the economy of socialism was being formed. There were arguments about what model of economics is better. Two alternative mechanisms of resource distribution and outcomes of production are the free market or the state. Coase showed in his work that a state cannot be effective mechanism, and the history of socialist countries confirmed it. On the other hand, the perfect market can be such a mechanism. I don't know, maybe you know that there is well-known series of jokes in which people of different professions or social groups are asked how many people they will need to substitute burnt bulb. Do you know? A series of jokes. So, one of these jokes is as follows. Guys from the School of Chicago, a business school which actively defends the free market and the market of perfect competition, are asked how many people are needed to substitute the burnt bulb. They answer 0. Because if the market needs it, the bulb will be substituted itself. So, from the point of view proponist of free market and perfect markets, it is true. But the problem is that the market is imperfect. Coase mentioned heterogeneity of products and deception as imperfections. Actually, Professor Zorodiadis also provided us with examples of imperfections. They are similar, with another words, but very close to this Coasean view approach. In this situation, firms become a more effective mechanism of coordination. One of the consequences of market imperfection is the emergence of transaction costs related to signing, execution of contract among the participants and after contract relations. These costs result not from production, but from risks and potential losses due to fully disclosed informations, false choice of the partner, or unfair behavior of the partner. So, if we will think about the production process, we of course think about production costs, but so the production costs appear during production process, but there are also transaction costs, and they play also very important, sometimes crucial role in mechanism of functioning firms. So, Professor Stefanov told us about Nobel Prize winners.
Also has 1991.
Yeah. Coase and Williamson, and this is one of few economic topics, transaction costs, one of the economic topics which was celebrated with the Nobel Prize twice, once Bose and once Williamson. Aiming to maximize its profit, the main purpose of any firm is to reduce not only production costs, but reduce transaction costs as well. The most reliable way to do it is to buy and sell to oneself. Firms form vertically integrated structures which control the production of intermediary products and fulfillment of intermediary functions inside the firm itself. Thus, the firm tries to avoid transaction costs since it is owner of the full information about what it buys and has enough confidence in the fact that nobody will lie to it about quality, about other parameters of transactions. That is why the firm is growing. When they vertically integrated, they are growing. If the strategy of firms positioning presupposes that it is better to locate units the firm controls abroad, or as it is in American books, offshore, one of the units, it will lead to emergence of global multinational enterprises. You can see it on the picture. So all three units are controlled by one firm, and according to location strategy, one of the units is better to locate in another country. And that's why we meet multinational enterprise. So it's like result of growing firm, not something else. So another approach, which is very common in economics, especially in international business theory, internationalization process theory, can be viewed as another very important strand to understand the nature of our business firms. So this strand is behavioral one because it takes into account the human nature of decision making in multinational enterprises. The model proposed by Johansson and Welny is also well known as a Uppsala model or Uppsala stage model. And this model assumes that the firm seeks to secure sustainable development, again sustainable development, but in case of firms, and avoids making decisions about internationalization until the uncertainty associated with the foreign market and the investment risks become acceptable to it. The company gradually achieves such acceptability with the accumulation of experience gained through its activity, first in the domestic market and then in the understood in markets of other foreign countries. What is of importance is the term cycle distance, understood at the differences between domestic and foreign environments, between the markets in which the company has already worked and the new markets. The company will begin its international expansion first in closed markets according to this cited distance, and then gradually move to more distance markets. Cited distance could be explained with the term liability of foreigners. Liability of foreigners arises due to differences in foreign markets and may be associated with ignorance of the characteristics of the foreign market, the lack of stable relationships necessary for business, or lack of legitimacy. Since offerings of business firms are based on platform-based business model and can be delivered remotely by users, the risk associated with investing are much less than those of traditional multinational enterprises. This means that liability of foreigners does not play a significant role when business firms penetrate new foreign markets. The transition cost approach we mentioned before, based on the concept of market imperfections, explained the emergence of multinational enterprises with the company's desire to increase its efficiency by minimizing the transaction costs resulting from the failures of imperfect markets. However, taking into account the actual practice of the activities of multinational enterprises in modern conditions, it can be seen that this may not be a pilot market, but in fact simply its absence. So, Thies, one of the prominent scientists in international business, puts it in such a way that rather it is often the case that market has quite simply failed to emerge and or need to be created or co-created by entrepreneurially managed business enterprises. This statement is a recognition of the fact that entrepreneurship and capabilities are integral part of competitive specific advantages of multinational enterprises. Or, if considered more generally, firms' competitive specific advantages are directly related to managerial, entrepreneurial, and organizational capabilities of the firm. In its term, it gives the key answering one of the sensitive questions related to the very existence of business firms and their internationalizations since their inception. Addressing to entrepreneurial capabilities approach opens the door to understanding of the nature and source of these firm-specific advantages. These advantages are one of the most important elements of international business theory, since it is the heterogeneity of firms based on the possessions of firm-specific advantages that enable them to become more successful among competitors, both in their market and in the case of multinational enterprises in the foreign markets, where these advantages compensates for cost of doing business abroad. Very important contribution to understand the modern multinational enterprises and especially business firms was provided by Tis, already mentioned, in his dynamic capabilities-based entrepreneurial theory. This framework stresses the managerial and organizational capabilities mainly neglected by previous studies in conjunction with appropriate strategy determining the success of the firm, including in global markets. Resources primarily related to intellectual capital are also particular value for the company in terms of building these dynamic capabilities. This notes that in the context of changing external environment and opportunities and threats that digitalization of modern business and rapid diffusion of knowledge brings, unique resources must be properly supported and protected by skilled orchestration of resources by management. This orchestration is entrepreneurial by nature, and it is a crucial condition for formation of firms' specific advantages. Entrepreneurial abilities to open up new opportunities, create and use knowledge play a crucial role in shaping firms' competitiveness and are applicable in combination with dynamic organizational capabilities, including at the global level. And sometimes only at the global level, because only the global level allows capitalize all these opportunities. There is a very useful concept in this theory of dynamic capabilities-based entrepreneurial theory, called the concept disaggregation of dynamic capabilities on sensing, sizing, and transforming. I'm close to the finish. So when we are speaking about sensing, it is the ability of multinational enterprises to recognize and select opportunities between others, opportunities to create new markets. Sizing is ability to find and attract the resources needed to use these opportunities. And what is very important, because we are speaking about dynamic capabilities, it is a transforming ability to do this continuously by updating processes, resources, routines, strategies, and ecosystems. So, we see the possibility for new types of firms, namely business firms, to escalate their growth and get into leading position in the global economy, even if they don't possess huge amount of assets and a new player on the field. So each of us as a people or institutions can do the same and achieve a lot, even if we start not from full position. I'm sorry for a bit philosophic presentation and a mix of various topics, but there is a nature of modern knowledge and nature of modern cognition. Thank you for it.